There is a school of thought that says that your capacity to feel fear as an adult is entirely dependent on the fear that you've experienced as a child. So as you grow up, the things that you fear, the feelings that you get, are actually the feelings of the things that you've already survived. For me, my biggest fear growing up was nuclear war. Even today, when I'm walking down a street and I hear a motorcycle's engine revving really loudly, it sounds to me like air raid sirens. I think people forget how scary the Cold War was. 1983, I'm 10 years old, and a Korean airliner strays into Russian airspace. It gets shot down, 267 people dead. This was a time in history where millions of soldiers were facing each other across the Iron Curtain, and at any moment, it could have all kicked off. The biggest bomb that was dropped in the Cold War was called Tsar Bomba and was dropped in Siberia. A bomb so big that people stood 60 miles away had third-degree burns. That's the equivalent of a bomb landing on St. Paul's Cathedral and the people on Brighton Beach being left with a permanent suntan. These things were phenomenal. To make matters worse, during this entire period, my father and my stepmother, I'd already been through one divorce, were always on the point of breaking up. So like the Russians and the Americans were always on the point of walking out each other in Geneva in the peace talks, so that my dad and my stepmum were always on the point of walking out from one another. What got me worse about the nuclear war fear was the fact that there were going to be just 4 minutes of warning from the moment that our radar picked up the advancing missiles and them landing and vaporizing everything underneath. 4 minutes. You can't do anything in 4 minutes unless you're prepared. And so I would try and be prepared. I learned everything that I needed to do in those 4 minutes. If I was at home, I would have taken the door off its hinges, put it exactly at a 45-degree angle, and placed books on the outside to absorb the gamma rays. I wanted to survive, and that was my primary concern. Considering this, you can imagine my surprise when I'm 12 years old and it's my 12th birthday, and as a treat, my stepfather is walking me round a nuclear-powered submarine. He's a weapons engineer. He's a very upright man, a very good man. As honest as there is the possibility of being honest, he is just what this country is made from. He takes me from room to room. This is the wardroom where we eat. This is the room where we sleep at night. And this is the nuclear reactor. Don't get too close, Chris, or the whizzy bits will get you. The whizzy bits? How can he be so patronising? I mean, I know more about nuclear war than he does, even though he's a weapons engineer. I know that a nuclear reactor in a nuclear-powered submarine is like a soul in a body, in the sense that when the outer casing is gone, when the whole ship's been decommissioned, the nuclear reactor remains alive, just like a soul does. He takes me then to the command and control centre. It's a very small room. This is the room where they would launch the nuclear missiles from. There is a grey table with a huge safe on top, with a dial, and everything's bolted down, I remember. The chair is bolted down, the table is bolted down. Nothing is going to rock the centre of this ship in the time of a war. It is going to stay solid. And then next to the safe is the handle of a gun. It looks like the kind of gun that you would use in a Western, except it doesn't have a barrel on it. It just has a trigger, and it has a curly telephone wire that leads into the wall. And he hands it to me, and it's heavy in my hand. And he's like, "You can press it if you like." And there I am, the boy most scared of nuclear war in the entire world, who's been preparing for it for years, with his finger on the nuclear trigger. "Press it," he says. "No, I don't want to press it." "It's not plugged in," he says. "Press it." "No, I don't want to press it." "Press it." "I don't want to press it." "Press it." What do? You press it. Do you know what happened? Absolutely nothing happened. It makes me think of the theory that if the things that you're frightened of are the things that you've already experienced, then going through life, it's safe to press that